Hello, this is Orange Sherbet, and today on the program we're going to be talking about work. Some jobs that we have done in the past, maybe going back to high school, and I have a special guest with me, Mimic.
Hello everybody.
And he's with me today, and this is actually take 2, and I felt so bad. We did this whole recording on, what was it, Friday? No, it wasn't Friday.
No, it was
Thursday.
Friday. Oh, Thursday?
It might have been Thursday or Friday, and I went last night to grab the audio file. Well, I needed some disk space. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna delete some of the old recordings. Well, I ended up deleting the whole conversation, so we got to do it over again, which kind of sucks. But I'm gonna digress and get into the topic here. I guess I'll introduce the topic by saying what my current job is, and then I'll ask Mimic about his. So currently, since about a week ago, I've been working at a food processing company that takes raw materials and processes them, whether it be fermenting, pasteurizing, milling, blending. It's really things get mixed up into different recipes, and they go into these health products, and sometimes they get capsules, sometimes it's powder fill. And it's funny, I went to the grocery store because they told me that they sold one of the products at the grocery store that we were processing, and I checked it out, and that shit is $32 for 8 ounces of that stuff.
Wow.
So like a couple handful, like if I took my hands and scooped the stuff out of the thing that we were processing, that's like $30 retail price. And we were doing, we did 3,600 kilograms of that shit. So that was a ton of, I realized how many thousands of dollars that is. Just
Wow.
in like a day and a half, you know. So now it kind of brought it into perspective, you know, how they're actually making money. And I don't know how much the company that they're doing the processing for, I don't know what they're paying, but damn. You know, that's where their money's being made. We had a little meeting at work on Friday, and the general manager came in and he talked about where they were about a year ago and where they are now. Like about a year or so ago, they were buying and selling commodities. Like they were buying the raw products, and I think they're repackaging them and selling them to other companies. And now they're a full-on food processing company. Just their company's growing exponentially. But he was like, "All right, raise your hand if you were here when the company started." And like one person raised their hand. There's so much turnover going on. It's crazy.
Wow.
So I think we'll get into the reasons why there's turnover and all that in a bit. But I'm going to ask you to kind of tell people what you've been up to lately as far as work goes.
Well, work has been hectic every day. I work for the construction for GSA contract, and then it get hectic every day. And we sit in these long meetings, and we're out there working in the most scorching sun, and it's a hassle, but it's a good job. It is a good job. It just don't have the benefits. You get to meet some very nice people. You get to do some amazing things. Like you never expect you can do it until you get out there and actually did it. So it's I'm not gonna say it's for everybody, because it's a lot of people who prefer indoors work. And trust me, if you don't like the sun, construction is not your thing.
You know, all that outdoor work, you know, whether it be construction, roofing, landscaping, all that shit.
It's commercial. So it's like we're going into government buildings and remodeling historical things, like in DC, and we would, like, let's say they have an event coming through and they need this big scaffold built so that they can put the stage on right or something. We would come in and do that. If they got some broken marble on the side of the face of the building, they don't want somebody to get hit by a slab of marble, would come out and repair that. And roofing, everything. It's like all the odds and ends, and it can get taxing sometimes because pretty much you're on call. Like you can get called in the middle of the night, like, look, the commerce building needs somebody on site to do this, and you're the closest one, so.
But your salary, right? I remember that from the last time we were talking.
Yes, I am salary based. It's good, but I'm thinking about stepping down and getting on hourly, because hourly get paid more because they get overtime.
Well, how does now? Well, I know we've discussed this before, but the difference between the two, I know how it goes because at my previous job, which I'll tell about later, the managers in that used to be salary, and they were expected to work 45 to 46 hours a week. During the holidays, those sons of bitches were working 55, 56 hours. But if you average it out over the year, there's a slow time of the year where you're maybe only working your 40. So
that is correct. That is correct. But I still
you still come out ahead.
Not per se. And there's a saying in every job: you're never supposed to talk about what you get paid.
Oh yeah.
So I inadvertently ran into this conversation with somebody, and I saw where it was heading. I tried to get out. I couldn't get out.
Oh yeah.
So he pulled out his pay stub, and I looked at like, oh, that's a lot for a week.
Oh man.
So, and I started thinking about what I get paid, and this is what he's been seeing for the past 4 months, the same salary, and I'm like, wow, that's almost twice as much as I'm making, and he's only doing 55 hours. I'm putting in like 50, maybe 55 on some weeks, and yeah, I think that I might be switching over.
Either that, or maybe you need to have the conversation where it's like, hey, I'm doing the same amount of work. He's, and maybe be like, hey, I overheard someone saying this is what they're getting. I don't know how you approach that conversation.
Yeah, that's a very touchy one.
You got to get paid no matter what. So whatever it takes, you get that money. So
yeah, it's either that or get canned.
Well, it depends also what your expectations are, where you're gonna go with it. If you're looking for advancement, that sort of thing. So,
well, it's as far as my job is, it's more of a they need me, because a lot of the labor that we have don't have clearance to walk through these buildings. I'm going through the FBI building, the Department of Treasury, Commerce building, all these buildings, ATF building on a regular. And I escort other people in so that they can get the work done. So I'm needed to a point where they can't really release me, but they can move me to another location if I become needy.
Damn, man, it just sucks for you to find out that you should be making more. Like, your salary should be higher, considering they should be factoring your salary in for that overtime, not for like just a flat hourly rate.
Yes,
it seems like that's the difference, and it seems like but you wouldn't know unless you had that conversation.
Yeah, I didn't want that conversation, but that conversation did open up my eyes. Like, I'm not getting appreciated for my work. I mean, and these clearances are expensive. The FTA building clearance cost me $15,000.
Wow, that's insane.
So I can't really explain it. It's like a contractor can come in there and make more than you. The company will pay him more than what they pay you, but you gotta oversee him. It's.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty backwards to me.
Yeah, it does, but I mean, I guess my position doesn't require me to get paid as much. I don't know. I have to explore the options more and talk to some other people who's in the same field as me.
I guess, yeah, you got to be careful on what you say to your higher ups, but you got to find a way to get paid. It sounds like. However you got to do it. Well, I guess I'm just gonna segue into what I my job history up to date and how things have maybe changed along those lines, because I started working when I was about 16. I started actually working. Well, I worked for my dad on the farm for a long time, but I don't really count that as a job because I didn't get like a W-2 or nothing. And a lot of times when he paid me, it was more like, all right, well, if you want, just ask me if you need some money. So occasionally I'd be like, all right, you know, I'd like to get a skateboard or something, or I'd like a bike, something like that. And they'd be like, all right, well, we'll see what we can do. it'd be like you order, you go online nowadays, and you'd be like, all right, yeah, I'd like to order a skateboard. Oh, that's out of stock, man. It's gonna be shipping from China. We gotta wait for research and development. Yeah, it's gonna be about 2 months, give or take. And then the shipping gets broken. So yeah, there'd be like a 4-month wait period or something, but eventually I'd get it. I was into, you know, skateboarding, snowboarding, all that stuff. Even though I was bad at it, it was fun. But anyway, so I started out working at a grain elevator, which, if people don't know, the farmers harvest their crops. The finished product is put into a truck. The truck drives to the elevator, is what it's called. So the farmers dump their shit out. It goes down into a hopper. It gets piped up into a bin. It gets dropped down through these shakers. I call them sifters or screens. There's another name for it, but that's in layman's terms. And then the stuff gets shaked out, and then we would package it into bags and stack it into rail cars, and then the rail cars will get picked up by another truck and then shipped off to Canada, and then onto a cargo ship, and then shipped to China. So the interesting thing that I didn't mention the last time about this job, somebody told me, now we would get this stuff super clean, like really, this is organic certified stuff. This stuff would come out real nice, you know, hardly anything in it. Before this grain gets shipped to China, they don't accept it with nothing in it. They actually would take this grain and they would add gravel and stuff to it. It made no sense to me, but they would only accept, like, you know, 90% clean. Because the company that was taking the commodities, we call them commodities, just the huge amounts of grain, you know, hundreds of thousands of kilos of this stuff. This stuff would get blended with gravel and other stuff to make it less pure. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what they're doing over there, but whatever.
It doesn't sound efficient at all.
It doesn't seem right. It seems, well, it's like let's say you know how you buy a bottle of something, and then you open it up and the package is settled and there's a bunch of airspace in there. It makes you look like you're getting way more than you actually are getting. That's what it seems like to me, but whatever. So that was a dirty ass job. I was there to sweep up, clean out these bins in between. It was a real dirty job. I think I got paid like $7 an hour, maybe $7.50. I don't know. I don't think they really took taxes out. I don't think they knew what the fuck they were doing over there, to be honest, as far as the financials. I know that the guy got in trouble a couple years after I left, and I don't know if he's still in business or not, but I made some money before I went to high school, before I graduated from high school, that is, and then I was in college. I had some money from student loans, a little bit of student loans / grants. And then my great-grandma had left me some money for tuition and that. I got a little bit of money from that to live off of, and I don't really know how the hell I survived without a job my freshman year. Halfway through freshman year, I decided I wanted a little extra spending money, so I started looking for a job. The small town I was going to school in, Valley City, North Dakota, there's no jobs there really. There was a telemarketing place, and there was the grocery store, and they weren't hiring. So there was a couple restaurants that were hiring. Now you can imagine back then, you don't go online looking for jobs. You like look in the newspaper, or you ask around.
Yeah,
This
and
is back in,
footwork.
like,
It's a lot of leg work.
yeah, oh, yeah. This is like 2000, the year 2000. So I worked at this damn restaurant called Broken Spoke, called the Broken Joke, and I was a waiter, and I wasn't a good waiter. I was a waiter, like I was pretty bad. I was more just like a worker, you know, like the jobs that I had done. I worked on the farm, I worked in a grain elevator, and then I'm a waiter. Like, what the fuck? I don't know how to deal with people. Like, I guess I learned a bit working there how to deal with people, and in dealing with stress at work, and that was tough. So I pretty much worked the evening shifts during the week when there was nobody would show up. I made $3.50 an hour. My paychecks were somewhere around $90 for 2 weeks. Oof. A couple weeks before finals, I just up and quit one day. I'm like, screw this, I'm out, peace. And then after that 1 year of school, I moved to Fargo Moorhead area, which is about, let's see, in total, I think back then probably about 100,000 people. I don't know if that's with there's a major university there, so I don't know if that includes college students, but that's not very many people. And that summer, it's funny because I went to a temp agency and I got a job at a grain elevator again. Great. An organic grain elevator. I worked there for a while. And I got mono. I don't think I mentioned this last time we were talking.
Oh, no.
I got mono. Well, I was working 2 jobs. I was working the grain elevator and a fireworks stand. I would go there after hours. And this was like a temp job. A temp job and a temp job stacked together. So the fireworks stand was sometime around July 4th. It was about a 2-week job. I was working, 12, 14-hour days in between the two. And I think I wore myself out and got real. That's how I got mono. And I think my girlfriend may have given that to me as well. I have no idea. But anyways, that was like the worst sick I've ever been in my life. I had to quit my job. When I came back, I tried a few different things. I actually worked at McDonald's for 3 days. I didn't mention this the last time. I worked there for 3 days.
How did you like that?
Oh, it was terrible. I quit after 3 days. I'm like, screw this, bye. They actually made me give my shirt back. Remember that. Like, this ain't worth it, man. I was making more at the grain elevator, and this job sucks worse than that. I burnt my hand on the grill the first day. Remember that? Ouch. That shit's hot. Some of those clamshell grills. That's how they cook the burgers. You clamp that shit down, it cooks both sides at once. It's like a Foreman grill without the slant, is what it was. Cause that grease and stuff is cooking right into the burger.
And then
too.
You're walking past that hot deep fryer and everything.
Oh boy, that's some scary shit for me, man. Like I always think about worst case scenario, what's gonna happen. Well, when I burnt my hand, I'm like, something worse is going to happen if I keep working here. I'm too clumsy for this shit. I'm not getting paid enough to burn my hand on some hot grease or something. So anyways, that was that. And then, I think I'm taking up too much time with this, but try to go over briefly what the other job that I had after that was. I went back to the temp agency. I worked for this company called Houston Engineering. I worked alongside of a surveyor. I was like an assistant, so I'd help him set up his level, and I would hold there's a elevation stick or rod, and you would get that thing flat on the ground, and he would look through his sight and read the elevations at different points along the road. It was a lot of stuff that working along roads construction, making sure that the road is going to be at the right level, how they wanted it, per the surveyor's calculations. So we did a lot of the road construction. We did a little bit of commercial stuff, just whatever business they got. But the work kind of dried up in the fall. They actually hired me on after the temporary period, so that was kind of nice. I think I made about $8 or $8.50 an hour doing that shit, and I worked about 50 hours a week, give or take. So I get some overtime pay. It was pretty good for me at the time. I remember I was paying about $195 a month for rent. I lived in this efficiency apartment. That was my first apartment I ever had. It was my own place, though. It was cool.
Yeah.
And I had a little extra money to spend along the side with that job, so it was good. It's good. I believe we got weekends off. It was decent. So when I got laid off, my sister was working at this grocery store. She did a little bit of everything. She did managing, she did bookkeeping, all kinds of stuff. And she got me a job there working in the produce department. And that particular store it's a real small store. It was real. And actually, my first day of work there was real dirty, and it made me realize every job I'm gonna have is gonna suck a little bit, because this fucking sucks. I don't know, like they hadn't cleaned underneath they got the refrigerated cases and they put ice on them. All the produce sits on top of there. Well, there's sprinklers that spray on the lettuces and stuff to keep them clean, to keep them fresh. Now, what you don't realize is when that water seeps down underneath those cases, there's a little bit of dirt, there's a little bit of maybe pieces of lettuce leaf that fall down and go through those grates. Well, that stuff, when it sits in that water, there's a little drain down there. Not everything drains, so if you don't get under there and clean it every 6 weeks or so, well, this shit hadn't been cleaned in 6 months or so. There was about 3 or 4 inches of sludge underneath those cases. I had to scoop that shit. That was my first day. He had me clean underneath the cases, and he knew damn well he hadn't done that shit in a long time. So, Rockin' Rick, my old boss, my God.
Oh man,
that boy got fired a couple months afterwards, but yeah. So the next summer I was about to quit. I'm like, screw this. I can't work here anymore. Actually, no, I worked there for like a year and a half. What am I talking about? I'm trying to think. Okay, so I started in the fall, like in November. I went through the next year, and then the summer after, I'm like, yeah, this is coming down to it. I really can't do this anymore at this store. I need to find something else. But I've been talking with a manager at a different store. I said, hey, if you need some help for the summer, I'm your man. He's like, all right. He liked me, so he brought me over to that store. And that summer, working there, yeah, this is going to kind of be in a topic at the end, but I about got fired from that job that summer because I was messing around, partying, and this girl I was seeing at the time got me into trouble a little bit, so pretty fortunate to have kept the job. I progressed. I stayed in that job because I liked it so much. I liked the people I worked with specifically, and I got promoted full-time, then assistant manager, and I stayed there for about 10 years, I think. 10 years just at that store, so I've reached that milestone. I had some really good vacation built up. I had my 401k going, but then I decided after my boss had got this promotion, we both applied for it. He got it. He had 20 years experience. I had over 10, but experience pays in that line of work. I realized that, hey, these better jobs that I'm progressing towards, they don't come around often enough. I'm not going to sit around forever. I like what I'm doing, but damn, I gotta really keep my options open. So right. I moved on. Right. I moved down here to Colorado. I'm continuing some schooling, and I'm working shitty jobs again like I did when I was like 16, 17 years old. So everything's coming full circle, and I'm kind of starting from scratch. But I'm really trying to find something that's gonna be a career at this point. So that is my history. With a few more tidbits thrown in there than the last time that I thought of later on. So maybe you can go into as much detail as you want to, or if you want to go real brief with it. But you've got a few similar things.
Yeah, I have a few similar. Well, I started working at Wendy's. I started working at Wendy's because of school, so school required me to do some extracurricular activities, some type of job program in order to graduate, so I started working at Wendy's. Absolutely hated it. It's like every time I think about this job, I just despise every single day. So after working at Wendy's, I decided I'm gonna start working. I graduated. And I started working for the base doing warehouse. I believe it was warehouse. Yes, it was warehouse. So as I was working for warehouse, I got moved up the chain pretty well. All my bosses liked me and didn't really get in too much trouble. I did have a couple of outrageous incidents, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Then after that, I decided that I'm gonna start working. I also didn't mention this. I had to move from Maryland to Virginia. It was a job that I left out the first time because I was thinking about it later on. I worked down in Virginia for a logging company. It was decent. It was real good. They was paying like 11 an hour. They didn't take no taxes out your check. They didn't claim you on a 1099. Everything was paid under the table. They never had no trouble with paying you, which was, you know,
It's
at
whatever,
that time,
man.
yeah. So, and I didn't have no bills. It was my mom has another home in Virginia, so I had no bills. The house was paid for. We got solar electricity. So, what do I need besides food? So, I stacked up quite a bit of money, and I decided to move back up here too because my mom was going through tough times. And when I moved back up here, I got another job working at Wendy's, and
And this is where it gets interesting.
yeah, this is where it gets interesting. Me and the boss didn't see eye to eye. The boss was just so openly racist. It was just ridiculous. And the boss said one thing, and I overlooked it. I decided to walk out like this. You can keep my check, everything. I don't care. I'm just going out to find another job. Try to be humble. And the boss said something else racist, and I said, you know what? I turned around, took my shirt off, and put my shirt on the grill, flipped it a couple times, put it on one of them little solid tray things, and gave it to a servant. So after that, I just saw the customers in the line. Yeah, you tell her. So after that job, I actually got my other boss was, as soon as I came back up, my other boss decided he was gonna call me and see what's up because he kept in contact while I was in Virginia, and he's like, "This, oh yeah, you can come back and come work for us, you know." And the guy, I ended up working for him, and the government manager wanted me to work for them, and so on the day that he asked me, like, hey, look, he asked us all three in front of each other, like, I want him to work for me. He was like, no, you can't work for him. I'll fire him before you can work for him, before he can work for you. And I was like, you can't, I'm thinking to myself, you can't do nothing like that, but he did it.
Yeah.
So he did that on the day that I was supposed to meet with the manager on the government side, and he was looking for me. He thought I stood him up and everything, and good thing my friend was there. He let him know what happened. He was like, oh, you know what, that's wrong. I could get the labor board down here. And I was like, just no, don't worry about it. I was thinking to myself, don't worry about it. He ended up getting in contact with my friend, and he called me, and I got an interview, and it lasted for like 3 to 5 minutes. He's like, that's it. It's very nice produce department. I enjoyed every bit of it. The pay was good. The benefit was good. But once you get in the government, you start to see your opportunities, where you can go. And I think I stayed with them for a while. I don't remember the exact time span, but after I stayed with them, I decided to go ahead and look at my options towards construction for the government, because it's them and it's elevator escalator engineers that get paid the most. And so I was fishing around, and I landed me a job as a laborer. I transferred out of that part of the government to the labor division and ended up getting contract work. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm working my way, and oh, I passed something up. While I was working at the produce, I decided I was supposed to unload a truck one day, and
I was waiting for this one.
My boss called me. It was early. My boss called me. I was drinking the night before, but I wasn't drunk. I had like a headache. I can remember this headache. And so my boss, he said, I need you in there early in the morning. I need you, because I was doing my boss's work. I was doing all my boss's work, but it didn't bother me. It was just more hours for me. I was paid I was paid hourly, so it didn't matter to me. And I'm on a forklift. I'm so tired. The truck. I see the truck backing up. I'm like, oh man, I'm so tired. So I'm in the warehouse. Pop the thing. I popped the forklift in gear. Hit the gas. The momentum from hitting the gas pushed me forward, pushed my foot heavier, and I went through 2 brick walls. And the thing about it is that the first brick wall dropped a brick. When I lift my foot, the brick went on the pedal.
Oh, it's like the worst. You're going in reverse, right?
Yes. Yes.
In reverse. Forklift, the brake falls down, hits the gas pedal, propels you even further backwards, and then what?
And then I just keep going out, and the second wall, I just bust straight through the second brick wall into the first brick wall was into the meat locker. I'm in the meat locker, passing people, and the second one, I just go straight into the store. It's like utter chaos. I hit one. I didn't mention this before. I hit a shelf, and you know supermarkets, they got a long shelf. So you imagine if you tilt one of those things over.
Oh yeah. No, I know. Yep.
I tilted one of them over. It's like food everywhere, and it's like slow down and stop. I got it to stop. Like I got that brick from under it, started slowing down. I'm hitting the brakes and slowing down, and I'm in the middle of the aisle, and I'm just shaking my head. No.
And there's a lady. There was a lady.
The lady came up. The lady came up, and what she say? Hold up. What she say? Oh man, I can't grab it.
She was like, "Hey, you need help clean this up?"
Yeah, you need me help cleaning this out. Yeah, that's exactly what she said. And I'm looking around. I also didn't mention this. I hit sprinkler systems.
Oh. So
the whole warehouse, yes, the whole warehouse. When I hit the sprinkler system, I hit the main valve, not the main valve, one of the main valves in the sprinkler system for the warehouse. So they had, everybody was outside the store, MPs and everything. Everybody's huddled around me like this. What was you thinking and everything? I'm just looking down like I can't even explain it.
Oh man. So the consequences of the whole thing.
Okay. The consequences was I had to pay 3% garnish from my check. It wasn't that bad. So I guess it's like a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. And then you had like a $250 fine.
A $250 fine. Yeah.
Yeah. They let you keep your job. That's crazy.
Yes, that's what I was wondering about. Like, they're going to fire me for sure. But the government, they're not big on firing you for a mistake. They just want, I guess, you to continue working for them.
Okay. That just seems insane. You know, nowadays, something like that would end up on YouTube somehow.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that the warehouse was pretty much flooded.
Oh, yeah.
When the sprinkler systems went off.
So they had that shit closed down for about 3 weeks or something, right? Yes,
they did. And they wasn't really mad when I came back in the store. You know how you have eyes just looking on you? Everybody was just looking at me like this. He's about to break something else.
That's crazy though.
So after that job, I got into construction. So I got into construction. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. But I did a lot of jobs. I did a lot of side work like pools and electrical and stuff. So I'm like a universal handyman, if you want to say.
Oh yeah.
So if it's something that I can't fix, I will take it apart and try to figure it out. So I mean, I'm not trying to go into detail. I don't know how much time we have, but
oh no, we're fine, man. Well, you know, I was just gonna talk briefly about what I've noticed from back when I first started working and how things have progressed till now, and like the overall work ethic of people, and I feel like how it's changed. I was thinking about it today when I was at the grocery store today, and I was listening on the intercom, and they have these. I'm very familiar with the grocery store now. I know how things worked back when I started. Yeah, I listen. You can hear on the intercom they have all these things, and it's all these systems they have in place. And I know what the purpose of them is for. They're like, all right, 2 o'clock, all departments report to the back room for. I don't know what the word was. It's basically saying what you're going to be ordering, or maybe it's like how much shit you're going to be doing. They're like, all right, 3 o'clock temperature check on all the cases and all this stuff. And I'm thinking about it as it relates to my job now. All the paperwork that we fill out, this HACCP, hazard analysis critical control point, it documents every step of the process so that who's done what, who's cleaned this, what chemicals you're using, what the product is, all the product numbers, everything is consistent. What ends up happening in my job, 5 or 6 people are working on the same project, doing different things. We're sitting around, just diddling ourselves, trying to figure out who did what. Until we get the paperwork done properly, we can't do shit. We end up standing around. That really affects how much
production
actually gets. Oh yeah, but back in the day, it's like, all right, we got this to do today. We got this. This is our deadline. We're gonna stay until we get it done. And when I worked at the surveying job, it's like, all right, this is what we have to do today. We're gonna work until we're done, and that's it. I'm the boss. You do what I say. I guess I kind of left out the whole September 11th part of that surveying job.
Yeah.
But anyways, I can just say briefly, that's where I was on September 11th. That was quite the moment when I was working that day. It was real quiet. I hear a radio go on in the background. It was super loud. I'm like, what the hell is? Why does that guy have his radio on so loud? I couldn't hear what he was saying. My boss is like, get in the truck, we're going home. He turns on the radio, and I hear about all the news coming in from that day, and that was quite a moment. We didn't say a whole word, a single word all the way home. We were just listening, and we're just like, what is this really happening? Like, we're going to war. It sounds like we're going to war. That was that. But that's kind of a break into what the original question is, how people's work ethic has changed over the past. Now at my job now, these guys are, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be any direction for anybody. We could go on we could go on our 15-minute break, and on Friday we go on break at 8:35. He's like, screw it, we're staying out here till 9. I'm like, okay. If I go back in there, I'm tagging along with this guy still training, so nobody seems to have any work ethic. They're just there to put their time in, and our bosses don't seem to have this work ethic either. The mindset is set a low standard of work, so that's what's expected out of you. It's not, let's strive to get better. Let's set a low standard, so that's what they expect. And I think that's bullshit. Even at the grocery store, my boss, I had good bosses at the grocery store. My first boss, he besides the Rick guy, whatever, he doesn't count. Jim, he always strived to be the best produce department. We have our sales numbers. We're going to increase that every year. We're going to cut down our shrink, what we throw away, all this stuff. And that was the values that were kind of instilled in me. So when I moved up, I carried that forward. I always used my boss's example, and they always led by example. They had good work ethic, and that's why I really liked it. And all the new people that came in, we taught them and we brought them into that mindset. And if you didn't work hard, you were the outcast. Nowadays, it's like, if you work hard, they're like, damn man, slow down, you're making us look bad. That's bullshit. So how is it on your end, anyways?
It's the same way. It's the same way. If you work too hard, I was raised just like you was. If you're paying me to do something, I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. I'm gonna try and get it done efficiently and safely. And I'm not gonna try to cheat you and milk the clock or nothing. You're paying me to do a job. You're not paying me to kick rocks. So when it's okay. For example, I have this couple fellas that were contracting out. They're supposed to be laying a parking garage slab, but nobody's really down there to watch them because everybody's really up on the 22nd floor and the 24th floor, and I gotta watch the 24th floor, the parking garage, and I gotta monitor, like if somebody gotta go to the bathroom, they gotta hit me on the radio and I gotta walk them to the bathroom, but they're supposed to be somewhere where I can get in contact with them. I need to know what they're doing at all times. So these guys, every time I come down the steps, and it's like these steps in this building give away your location. Every time I come down the steps, you just know when somebody just now starting to work. So so I was like, y'all didn't even do nothing. Y'all been down here for 5 hours and y'all still didn't get the material off your truck, and it's like a couple buckets. And I'm like, oh man, I can see right now I'm gonna have to put in a request because y'all trying to milk the clock. They get paid hourly, so they're milking the clock. They did the same thing the day before and the day before, and I don't understand it. I was like, if I was in their predicament and I had me something to do in order to better myself and get money, I would do it. Why? Because that will open opportunity to get more money. That person, you never know who that person can get you in contact with to get more money, easier, move you up the chain. You don't want to be doing that for the rest of your life. You want to be sitting back behind your own company or something and reaping the rewards. But I just think laziness just got out of hand. It's just ridiculous. I go to supermarkets and I see one person line just packed. This one person he's got to be the new guy. He's just scanning and everything, and the other person over there on the phone or biting their nails or just twiddling their thumb, playing with their hair or whatever.
It just seems like I don't know. It's like the people in charge. You can tell when there's a good business. Everyone. It feels like a team. It's not like two guys over here talking, one guy on his cell phone texting, and then maybe one guy working. You know, everyone's working in it, and one guy's jumping in to help another guy. That kind of thing. You just don't see that everywhere. But it's just, I don't know what it is, man.
It's like the age is changing, and like I said, the first take, people are getting mad, or people are wondering why they're getting replaced by machines, because machines don't milk the clock. You know, it's not just that. Machines make mistakes too, but it's more of the production continue going, and yeah, they can probably give a machine a break, but it's like at the end of the day, I mean, you know, you don't have to deal with the hassle. You don't have to go look for Jacob because he done walked across the parking lot to talk to his girl or something.
Oh, yeah. You know, and companies look at bottom line. Is this machine's going to be an upfront cost higher, but is it over time, is it going to be more efficient than a worker? And nowadays, yes. Most of the time, that is the truth. But I guess we'll transition into... I'm going to try to lump two questions together just to save time.
Okay.
And the answer might be the same. What is your passion, and where do you see yourself in the future? What do you see yourself doing? Is that the same as like your favorite job? If not, you know, you can differentiate the two. I guess I'll start off. I really kind of found my passion when I was working at the grocery store. I never would have expected it, but I really enjoyed... Food is like something that I enjoy consuming. I enjoy thinking about it. I enjoy working with it. And just not necessarily restaurants. I found out definitely not working in restaurants is for me, but working in that industry somehow. That's where I see myself. I can always see myself, you know, and I love produce. And
So like owning a shopping mall or something. I mean, store or something.
not necessarily that. I could maybe see myself being one of those food scientists. I'm just not sure what kind of schooling I'm going to have to go through. I'm going to have to really look into that. But currently, I'm in a computer networking course at a community college. I don't know if that's going to be it for me, but I'm going to be looking into some different schooling in the future, and I just really want to find a job and just get into it again. And I applied at several grocery stores when I moved down here a year ago, and nothing's really come up that's interesting. I don't want to really. If you start out on the bottom in one of these grocery stores, it's not going to pay very well, and the entry level stuff is not very good. So I figure if I get some schooling to really find my specialty, which could be like the job that came up for my boss, the quality control at the warehouse. That was a great job. That's something I'd really like to do. So not in a retail store, but something dealing with food, basically. Whether it be a food scientist, a quality control specialist, something like that would be where I could see myself.
Okay. Well, as far as me, I think no, construction is not a career for me. It just doesn't have. If you got to come out of your pocket for the benefits and you're working hard, I'm not trying to one day look at my hands and see blisters like crazy. So I've had my fun. It's pretty much for me at 19 to maybe like 35, but I want to drive trucks, so that's my passion right there. I want to explore the rest of the country, so yes.
Well, yeah, you said that when you were younger, you've been to about 43 of the states.
Yes,
in the
yes. I don't remember most of them because I was young, but I do remember. I remember Cali because I remember my soles of my shoes melting on the concrete. I remember Florida, and I remember Texas. And my mom, she didn't fly; she drove.
Oh yeah.
Those was family vacations. And I remember the state of Washington.
Ah, yeah. What's your favorite state that you've been to?
I would say state of Washington.
So
what'd you say? They had snow, and it was so much fun.
Yeah. So could you see yourself moving to the Northwest in the future?
No, not really. Not really.
Stay around family.
It's more of a climate thing for me. Like,
okay.
I want all 4 seasons. I don't just want a mixture of 2.
I got you.
So somewhere in the mid.
I love Colorado, but I guess I could see myself going somewhere else in the future. Not super, super hot, though. I couldn't handle super hot for a long time.
So Texas ain't your thing?
Nah, Texas is not going to be my thing, I don't think. But I'm with you. I wouldn't mind exploring other states. I don't know if I would do it for work. I guess that would depend on what I had, you know. But think about what else we could talk about. I know one of the topics we discussed was we'll do this briefly. Kind of has this bit of the comedy section. Have you ever had a workplace relationship? And would you recommend it or not? I'll tell mine briefly. There was girls that I was interested in the grocery store. I was a real shy guy. I wouldn't go up and ask anyone out. I didn't. This is the first take we didn't talk about. I kind of had a choice. It was kind of like ask this one girl out. She was real cute. She worked the customer service. Ask her out, or this other girl. I heard kind of like me, so I kind of put the word out. I was like, hey, you think if I asked this one girl out, you think she'd go out with me? And of course, people like to spread things around. It's like high school in there. So someone kind of asked her, was like, hey, if he asked you out, would you say yes? And she was like, yeah, I'd probably say yes. So then, but the other girl that I'd never really talked to at all, she sends her friend over and is like, hey, we're gonna be at this bar tonight, and if you want, you can stop by. I think I was freshly minted 21. I think it was like I'd only been 21 for a couple months, so we went there, and you know, one thing led to another. Before I knew it, we were going nuts, and we were like partying and doing stupid shit. And I think this relationship maybe last 3-4 weeks. I'm not even sure. Felt like a longer than that because it was crazy drama and stupid shit happening. But the one funny thing that came out of that whole deal was she gave me the biggest hickey I've ever had in my life, and I've only had a couple. Like if I'm not, like, I don't drink anymore, but I don't think I'd let a girl do that to me nowadays. Like, come on, man. Like, what is the deal? You don't see people with hickeys anymore. I think that's like it was like a trend or something. I don't know.
The women marking their territory.
But yeah, I guess nowadays there's Facebook for that. Like a Facebook status is like a hickey. Or I don't know, is that true? But anyways, this thing was fucking massive. It was like I wish I still had someone took a picture of it at the time. The thing was like half my neck, and I came into work hungover as shit. I didn't even look in the mirror. I didn't realize I had it. I thought it was like a little thing, but I didn't even feel it. The thing, it looked like I took a baseball bat to the neck or something. That thing was huge. It took up half my neck. I swear to God. And I bet if I asked the people I work with, they still remember it. They still laugh their ass off. So I made an ass out of myself with that. And I went through one of the lines, and this other checker, she kind of joked with me about her setting me up with her sister. Well, I went through her line, and she saw my hickey, and she's like, "No, you're not going out with my sister anymore." I said, "You're trouble." Which really wasn't true, but I guess I kind of let it happen. So that was my. And I know
Who knows?
I know that you had mentioned that there was you had kind of a workplace thing, but you didn't.
Yeah,
pursue it.
was. I was always told never to have a relationship in a job place, and I've seen people go down that path, and I've seen it always fail. I never seen nothing successful out of it. So I met somebody, and we started dating, and she was pretty nice. So I just let her know, like, I'm not really looking for no long term, and we decided to turn it into a fling, and that's what it was.
Wait, that's not bad. I found out that it gets real awkward if it doesn't go well and you still have to see him.
Yes, I started thinking about that too. Imagine you having a relationship for about 2 years, working at the same job, and y'all decide to break up, but y'all still got to work at the same job.
That's just not cool. And I actually did see it. People would date each other, and a lot of times it didn't go that great. So that's not good.
Yeah, when you have a problem at home,
yeah.
It comes to work with you.
So we got time for one more short thing?
Yeah, we got time.
Okay, cool. So we used to do... Now, I don't really have any... Oh, man, I got a funny story from one of my jobs, but... maybe I can do like a 10 to 30 second version of this story. So I worked at Houston Engineering. We traveled a bit. We went to this one town, and we decided... We asked our boss where we were going to be. We got off early that night, and we were like, "Hey, let's go out to this bar." It was like a themed thing by the lake. It was like I don't even know. It's like a Hawaiian themed thing. It was kind of stupid, but we're like, "Hey, let's go out and let's see if we can meet some people, have some fun." I don't think I was even 21 at the time, but my buddy had some drinks. He kind of got dancing with this girl, and they think they were gonna hook up or something. At the end of the night, I went with my boss, and he was like, my buddy who I was working with. He's like, "Hey man, just wait up for me at the hotel. I'm gonna bring these girls back, and we're gonna party a little bit more." So I waited for him. It was 1:32 in the morning. He still wasn't there, so I'm like, screw this. I'm going to bed. I don't even know when he got back. I didn't hear him come back. We had to get up for work about 6. I wake up and I'm like, "Man, what the hell happened? What time did you get back?" And he said, "Oh man, it was like 4 in the morning." He said this girl and her mentally challenged cousin took me driving the back roads for a couple hours, and then we went to Perkins, and then they took me back to the hotel. So that was this whole thing. That was kind of funny. I'm kind of glad that I didn't wait up with him and go, because that guy was hilarious. But we used to pull little pranks at the grocery store. One of the things we would do is we'd call the other competing grocery stores and we'd be like, "Yo, produce department." Like, "Okay, produce department here. Hey man, you got any leaks?" So you'd go check for these onion things. Be like, yeah, man, we got some leaks. I said, "Oh, all right, man, you better get them fixed." And click. Be like, "What?" Yeah. So it was like a little produce humor there. And my boss is so funny. He would wait and he would creep. Like he would be in the cooler somewhere, just in a corner, and he would just be creeping. He'd be creeping. And you would get about 2 feet from you, and he would stand up and put his face. He'd get up on you, like, "Ah!" The fucker. He was so good at scaring people. And we'd be hiding in these cardboard bins.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
And one of the girl managers, we had the best freak out ever. We asked her to open one of the security doors so we could bring something in. She backs her ass up right up against the bin, and the guy pops the lid off and grabs her by the shoulders real quick, and she freaked out. She went into like half fetal position somehow in the air and would like started flapping her arms and stuff. That was awesome. It makes you wish that you had some of this stuff recorded, because this is some of the funniest shit ever. But it's all in context, but it just proved that we knew how to have fun at work and we didn't take it real serious, but we I miss it. So, you got any funny ones?
Not really. I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Nah.
I guess
I'm thinking.
I
don't think I do.
I mean, it depends on what line of work you're in. We had a bit of downtime occasionally that we'd plan out some stuff. You get kind of bored at times, but we did fine. Let me think. So, if I was to give anyone any advice about working, I wish people would treat work the same way they would treat, let's say you were in high school on a sports team and you're on the JV squad. I wish they would treat it as competition and a way to advance yourself to be as good as you can be. I think a lot of people get comfortable doing the same thing. I hope they realize that you don't have forever in this life. You should really put forth your best effort, give it 100%, and if you don't like what you're doing, always keep your options open. For me right now, I'm going to keep doing this job, but I'm going to devote a lot of time to looking for something else that I'm going to enjoy, and that I'm going to be able to take pride in what I'm doing and be invested in it, because I do best when I'm working if I'm, physically, emotionally invested into what I'm doing and proud, proud of what I'm doing, and also liking the people that you work with is a big plus for me. So if you can do all of that, you're going to be a lot happier in your life, I feel like. And I think about this at the same time. Some people maybe don't have a choice of what they're doing, but in any given living situation that you are, unless you live somewhere out in the country where, or in an area where there isn't as much work, there's a lot of options for you. So you should always find something that fits your taste, and it may take years for you to find that, but I feel like if you look around and if you are always thinking about what you could be doing, put your mind to it, and you can accomplish it. And you don't necessarily need schooling to have a good job. You just got to find that right situation for you, and always be looking to advance yourself. And it's not all about the position, advancing your position, just making yourself
stand out.
Yeah, make yourself stand out. And and it should be. You shouldn't be always trying to blend in with your situation. Just trying to rise above. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you got a certain pace that you work at, don't change because somebody else in the workplace is trying to, change you. Do your own thing. Somebody will notice what you do. It's just so many people out here that has potential to advance themselves, and they're letting peers talk them down, and peers like, come hang with me, we're gonna do this. But you don't have to do that. Just do your thing, do your 8 or 10 or whatever it is, and when you come home you'll notice an improvement.
Yeah. And really, whatever mindset you're in right now, when you think about what effort you put forth in your job, regardless, focus on yourself. Because I've seen in my experience, a lot of people are like, man, I'm working hard, but Joe over there, he's not doing shit. He's getting paid the same wage. Well, why should I be working hard? Focus on yourself, and like you said, someone's gonna notice. It's gonna really pay off. It's like karma. I feel like when you put forth a good effort, or when you do something right, it's gonna pay off for you in one way or another. You never know who's watching, so.
And just to let you know, there's always somebody watching.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Because yeah, that's just the way of the world. Well, man, I really appreciate you doing another take of this. I'm gonna make sure I don't delete it this time. But thanks, Mimic, for joining me for this. It was such a good conversation the first time. Glad we were able to come back, and we actually dragged out a few more details than we did the first go around. So thanks again for that.
No problem, Dan. Anytime.
Yeah, Mimic is a moderator on my live stream on Twitch TV. I'm going to provide links for that, for my live stream on Twitch, and my Twitter as well if you want to follow that. But that's it for this week. And next week, we're going to be talking about another topic, and I hope everyone has a good rest of your weekend, and stay safe out there. Bye, everybody.
See you.